We are here for a new segment called The Wheel of Jake Gyllenhaal. Basically, it's a spinoff of Visit Kino, and every month, Biggs and I are going to randomly spin a new Jake Gyllenhaal movie to watch and review. And for episode 1, we landed on Stronger, the 2017 movie about the Boston bombing, the marathon bombing. But before we get into that, let's just have a general Jake Gyllenhaal chat, Biggs, because we're embarking on a 44-month journey here, potentially longer if he happens to release a new movie in the next 4 years, which I think he tends to do. Biggs, of all the actors out there, why are we obsessed with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Well,
why indeed?
There was one movie that came out quite a while ago that made him, for me, the best actor of all time.
Donnie Darko.
That is Donnie Darko.
Wow, I was
going to make it a mystery, but
Donnie Darko proved that he's the best actor of all time, you're saying?
Yes, he won my heart over, and nobody's ever been able to replace him. I don't know what exactly it was about Donnie Darko, but maybe it was just trauma at the time. But when I first watched the movie, I was like, wow, this is great. I think we had watched it together, maybe. And
I probably showed it to you.
We were talking about, like, meanings behind certain things and, like, what we thought it was about. And then from then I was like, I'm curious. I'm just going to watch it again, see if I pick anything else up. And then it just became like this snowball effect of watching the movie probably over 500 times now. I don't even know.
500? Oh my God.
What's your most watched movie, Florian? Mine's Back to the Future, I can tell you that. Probably followed up by Rat Race and Big Fat Liar.
Might be Lord of the Rings. I guess I used to watch that one a lot.
Not The Hobbit. Well, I thought Desolation of Smaug was your most watched film.
Well, I always
Mumkey.
I can't watch The Hobbit without Lord of the Rings, okay? Jeez.
That's fair.
So Lord of the Rings already had a head start, but yes, I mean, that would be more recently, I guess, the number one.
What were you saying, Biggs?
I was about to give you crap because the last time you said Lord of the Rings, I said, do you mean The Hobbit or like the OG movies? And you got pissed. But I guess he proved me wrong already, and he does include that, so.
Yeah, I am the only one who likes the Hobbit trilogy, okay?
Might be the only one on Earth who likes it.
Not to go into an Izakino on The Hobbit, but what makes you like it?
Oh, yeah, well, I was actually going to ask you the same thing about Donnie Darko.
Whoa!
I cannot fathom it.
Well, the inability to fathom Donnie Darko is one of the main appeals.
Yeah, I guess that
makes you think, unlike The Hobbit.
It has a charm to it that I can't really find in any other movie. Some characters are good, most of them are bad, but it's to a point where it's like endearing almost.
What do you mean that the characters in Donnie Darko are bad?
They're poorly done? Wow.
Come on. Like, what's her name? I always think of her as... No, I always think of her as...
Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Because of
BoJack?
BoJack, but yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal, her character, I don't know, it wasn't good to me. I thought
she's like a libtarded college girl in the late 80s or whatever. I mean, it seemed pretty realistic to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. It just like her character, and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones off the top of my head, like some of the children that are at the school,
like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I don't know. His character was funny. He bullied people.
I can't think of a single character in Donnie Darko that I would remove from the film.
Wow,
that's true. But we can still like.
I've always been a Donnie head.
Oh, really?
What's that, Biggs?
I said that's true, but we can also admit that they're bad, even if we don't want them out of the movie.
I mean, are you thinking of like the bitchy teacher? Because like all the characters serve a purpose. I wouldn't say they're bad.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know. Watching it, sometimes I'm like, well, they probably could have found someone better for this task.
Yeah, but past the 300th time seeing it, you're really annoyed at their performance.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it. So then, what's your answer for The Hobbit then? What makes it so good?
Well, I guess I don't even know why people don't like the Hobbit as much as the Lord of the Rings. All the goofy stuff they complain about in the Hobbit already exists in Lord of the Rings, okay? And in the Hobbit you got dwarves, and the dwarves are actually awesome, and I love them.
Can you name 3 of them? I think I tried to do this to you last time we talked about the Hobbit. Can you name 3 of the dwarves?
Ori, Nori, Gloin.
He could be making sounds, just making shit up. How am I supposed to believe him? Did you say Ori, Gory, Bloin? Is that what you fucking said?
No.
You want to try that again?
I said Ori, Nori, Buffer, Bumber, Bimber.
Buttfuck?
Okay,
So here,
I knew them all at one point. Okay.
You know? Do you know Jesus' 12 apostles?
No, fuck those guys. But Gandalf actually says them in the movie. Like he lists them off. So I just. Like,
so you rewatched that scene to keep it.
Get that part right.
Yeah, imprinted in your brain.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, so the first time I watched The Hobbit probably wasn't the best go of it because I was already tired. But I ended up falling asleep like 3 times.
In the theater?
Yeah, probably. I don't think I watched it in theaters, but I remember every time I woke up, they were still just like on a monologue, walking through the mountains. And I was like, what is this movie about? And so
it's about 3 hours long.
Yeah, I watched it again, and I don't know, I just still wasn't impressed even after seeing all of it. I was just, the original 3 were just too good.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are beloved. I mean, I'm the only one who thinks that The Hobbit is better than the original.
Better?
He's an eccentric contrarian, some might say.
Hey, this is the only one of my opinions that is controversial. Okay?
The only one.
Well, yeah, should we dive into stronger?
No, hold on. So, which one of them do you think is the worst? Do you I mean, surely, like the first one was as good as it gets, right? The first.
Are you talking about the Hobbit trilogy?
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I never watched the second 2. I watched the first one. That was enough for me.
Oh! Like,
The third one's the
last
worst one.
Shit, but the first 2 are great. That's crazy. Wow.
So you telling me I need to watch all 3, and then we'll do a Kino next week?
Oh yeah. Mumkey wants to review it over and over.
We did a review of the Battle of 5 Armies like a couple months ago, and I'm still in pain.
Yeah, he's banned me from putting it on the list, but you could talk him into.
I'm not letting Biggs on the PCP. Are you kidding me? He's lucky to be on the Wheel of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, there was definitely a Jake Gyllenhaal dwarf. Come on.
Oh wait, if that's true, we might have to take a look at these Biggs. We might have to put that on our wheel.
I'm pretty sure there was.
So you guys want to talk about this Stronger movie?
Sure.
Yep. So we got this guy, he's just so in love with this girl, but he's always blowing it and he's ruining everything. But then he finally comes to he comes to support her, and then the worst thing ever happens to him, and he's forced to have a child with her. And it's
wow, that's a
problem.
Rough translation of the plot.
Yeah.
Okay, basically, this is a real life event that happened in 2014. Some little scumbag boys of some sort of thing. They decided we're gonna be terrorists today. We're gonna go to the Boston Marathon, drop some backpacks in the crowd, and just blow them up and shoot people full of BBs and nails and shit. And there was a very famous photo that I saw posted in many gore threads on 4chan of a guy with his legs just blown the fuck off, being pushed by a medical person. And that's who this movie is about. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal is playing that guy. And I didn't know this until the movie, but I guess his eyewitness account of what he saw from the bomber actually evidently helped catch the guy. Which, there's another movie, there's like a sister movie to this movie called Patriots Day, Biggs. I believe that's a Mark Wahlberg movie.
Yeah.
Do they ever mention that Jake Gyllenhaal actually helped ID the killer?
Sadly, no. They never mentioned Jake.
Marky Mark does not want to give Jakey Jake any credit.
Wow.
Sad day.
Oh, so there's a movie that covers the other part of this, where you actually see the terrorists get hunted and stuff?
Right, yeah, it's all about the manhunt. And I actually got those movies confused in my head watching this, because I've seen them both before, and then watching this, I was like, oh, wait, they caught both of the dudes? We're only 30 minutes in. What the fuck's the rest of this movie gonna be? And then it's mostly just Jake Gyllenhaal, like, struggling to sit on the toilet and stuff.
Yeah, what a letdown.
Yeah, that's my main complaint with the movie, is that we don't get to see enough of his life before the bombing. And a lot of stuff they like to tell us instead of show us. Like the girlfriend says, oh, I had to break up with him because he never shows up for anything. But the only scenes we see of him are him like getting out of work early because he wants to show up for something. So they don't, like, it doesn't really work. They should give us, I'd say, at least 30 minutes of his normal life, show him not showing up for stuff and letting this girl down. And this is going to sound strange, but I think they should show Jake Gyllenhaal taking a shit normally. because it's a real struggle. It's when he loses his legs and he's like reaching for the toilet paper, he falls off. Just that juxtaposition of these normal everyday things that we take for granted, he now cannot do. And if we could see how simple it was for him just as a normal man and then see the struggle, I think it's a lot, like there's a lot more things they could have done with the movie instead of this misery.
You're right. It's so unbelievable that he's able to take a shit without trouble. I'm
just saying, like, the things that we take for granted that he has to struggle with, I think they should have just shown us casually him doing all those things.
It should have been like one of those toilets where someone has hidden a camera in and we just see everything.
What's that movie where some sort of Martian shrinks a kid down and they're in the toilet and they look up and there's some fat guy's ass coming down to sit on them?
What?
This is like a kid's movie.
Now we're bringing in a shrunken kid. Oh God.
Yeah, what movie was that?
I don't recall that.
That's
at all.
A dark memory.
It was a kids movie, and they showed a guy's real butt.
It's a kids movie, and it's like some fat guy's about to shit on us.
This is really bad. You would actually die, wouldn't you?
This is somebody has to know what this movie is in the chat. I'm waiting for somebody to say it, but
like, there would be no way to claw your way out of the bowl.
Probably Patchy. He's gonna randomly jump in and say, "Oh yeah, I remember. It's this movie."
Literally nobody has any idea what I'm talking about.
I mean, I've probably seen like a few movies where the kids were shrunk. I don't know.
Did they get shit on by a big fat guy?
Well, I mean, they probably didn't really, right? Otherwise, they would be dead.
Official channel verified got it. He said it was Schindler's List.
Yeah, clearly. Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
I think people were just thinking you're mistaking it for scat that you watched.
I was watching a scat porno as a child that I have a deep memory of. Low Res Wonder Bread was in Patriots Day. I did not know that test.
Whoa.
Well, let's go see if he gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd, because he gave this one only 2. He's a real hater.
Oh, there's the competition.
So that's how I would have improved the movie. More of his life before the tragedy, so that we really have something to compare how hard his new life is after. What did you guys think of the movie?
It was all right. I mean, I think it was mildly interesting, and I didn't even know about this whole thing, so it was interesting to see how his life transformed. Pretty relatable ways. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I watched it originally, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it would have been better if I had watched it this time for the first time, because this time it was more of just like, oh yeah, I remember this scene, that kind of thing. But I don't know, I think overall it was fine. It wasn't like a horrible movie, but it probably isn't in like even the top 10 of Jake Gyllenhaal movies for me.
I'd say as a movie, it's not super interesting, and I think they could have painted a more if we're gonna paint a picture of this guy's life and stuff, they probably could have made it more exciting and intriguing. But as far as Jake's performance, I mean, he was getting me. You know, I was getting a little misty-eyed when he's having breakdowns, and he starts off as this happy-go-lucky kind of man-child, like he still lives with his mom at the age of 28. and he's working at fucking Costco, and he can't even do that job right. Like, he's burning all the rotisserie chickens and shit. And and every moment, like even right after he gets bombed and wakes up in the hospital, he's cracking jokes like, "Oh, I'm just like Lieutenant Dan now," that kind of stuff. But we see how this tragedy breaks the man down, and he loses his sense of humor and just becomes like a depressed alcoholic, and he's really mean to the girl who's like sacrificing everything to help him in his life. And it's really a bummer of a movie for most of it.
Yeah, I would say Jake's performance, I mean, for me, I always think it's stellar, but I think he did portray the kind of like the depressing side, like the really captured like the feeling of what the person was going through well.
Yeah, it felt pretty realistic, but I'm definitely glad they didn't show more of him at the start, because I thought he was insufferable when he was starting out.
You were happy when he lost his legs, like, oh, finally, karma is real.
Finally, something serious is happening. He was starting off really good when he did that, and he was immediately helping the police. Damn. And he really could have. Well, I guess he really did make it pretty big with getting popular and everything. It's crazy how you have him getting all these opportunities and these legs and everything, and then like most people who have that situation, like even if they're soldiers, they might end up being in a horrible situation. But I can't believe he. Well, I guess it makes sense how he convinced the girl, because it was vaguely related to her that he got blown up, but still.
Yeah, he never shows up for anything in this girl's life, and she's always bitching about it. She dumps him for it. But she's going to be running in the Boston Marathon, so Jake Gyllenhaal makes sure he's there in the crowd to watch her. And so she feels some guilt for that.
Yeah, so do you think by her like complaining about it, but them not showing that like being a thing, him being late all the time, do you think that was just the writers trying to like throw shade at her for some reason?
Yeah,
that's what it felt like to me.
Some crazy bitch, because his actions in the movie don't really reflect.
Yeah, it was so confusing.
Another confusing thing is Jake Gyllenhaal has very low self-worth, and he's always like, his catchphrase is "go help someone else." Like, he feels like he's not deserving of help, even as they're tying the tourniquet on his exploded legs. Like, he's telling the guy, "go help somebody else. I'm not worthy of it." So with that idea of this is a character who he has no self-worth, and by the end of the movie he has to discover it by talking to the guy who saved him and all that. But then there's this other part where he thinks that he specifically is magical for his favorite football team, and that like he needs to be there with his lucky beer and his lucky underwear, or else the team won't win. So I'm like, well, which is it? Does he value himself to a magical degree or not at all? Like, is this not a contradiction in the character?
You really think that was so literal? I thought he just really wanted to see it, but yeah, I guess you're right. He did make that point. How strange of him. Well, I think there's a lot of people that are like secretly pretty superstitious, you know.
Yeah, especially like sports fans, honestly. But
so we should write that off as just like a superstition thing. Maybe he's just having fun.
I think
it doesn't
it's just
actually
like
reflect how he views himself.
Right. I think it's just like a sports fan thing. Like, you know, the game's coming up. He really wants to be there, and maybe even like get to a sense of normalcy to how it was before, you know? Like, he was always there for the game with his beer and whatever, and he doesn't want it to change now because of his condition and all that.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense that he did it to magically help the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
In my notes, I wrote down while he's in the hospital, somebody offers him more fentanyl.
Yeah. You're always interested when there's fentanyl.
Got to be careful with that stuff. You know, it might help you feel good, but it might also do some bad stuff to you.
Well, it's probably fine in the hospital.
Yeah,
just don't
probably.
get addicted.
Hopefully it's not from China.
Yeah.
Why is it worse there?
Evidently, China is sending over some stuff laced with fentanyl to fuck Americans over.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do a war on somebody without actually going to war, like poisoning their people with bad drugs is pretty easy. But it is what it is, YouTube. His mom, he's got like this overbearing mom, and it doesn't help that he was a man-child to begin with, living with her. And like the attention she gets from this kind of, it fuels her alcoholism, but also she's like addicted to the attention. And she's trying to book Jake Gyllenhaal like on Oprah and all these things. And she said, oh, if it wasn't for Oprah, I would have killed myself already, like stuff like that. And Jake hates the attention. Like that's the main drama of the movie, really, is like he does not want to be seen as a hero because he doesn't feel like one. He's like, how am I a hero just for losing my legs? And people keep coming up to me and saying this shit to me. And like, I'm just miserable in my private life. So it's not helping.
Well, it's so weird because I'm pretty sure it was actually quite helpful. I'm pretty sure he would have gotten way better opportunities than most people because of it. And like he was so happy to put himself in the spotlight before, right? So
was he?
I mean, like when he was gonna put that sign up. I mean, like when he. I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking of him as selfish earlier, I guess. So I don't see how he would be having problems exploiting the situation now. But yeah, I guess he just really hated his new situation. That's probably all.
Biggs, there's a scene of Jake Gyllenhaal completely naked in the shower, laying down in the tub. Did you pause it and zoom in on the crotch?
Yeah, I mean, this movie was how long again? Like,
it was the perfect length. It was right under 2 hours. That's how long every movie should be.
Yeah, I think it was like 2.5 hours for me, if that answers your question.
Okay.
How'd he get shit all over his face? though? That was really puzzling to me. And then why was he in the shower and he hasn't washed off the shit? like the only way he would have done that was if he was deliberately trolling his girlfriend so that she had to clean up all of the possible shit he could find.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, you know, how do we make this scene even more disgusting and horrible? Yeah. We'll just smear the poop all over the place.
Yeah, his mom's little apartment is not really situated for somebody in a wheelchair, and it doesn't seem like they were conscientious to do anything about that for him. Like, at what point do you move? Like, if your doorway is not big enough to fit the wheelchair through, and there's no, like, ramp or elevator in your building, at what point do you move?
Yeah, and, like, in his situation, I guess it probably would have been the mom that would have gone after it, but, like, I feel like it would have been easy in that situation to, oh, you know, this is our house. It's not really fit for his wheelchair, that kind of thing. And probably could have got, like, discounted, if not free, like, new housing of sorts.
Oh, GoFundMe. They would have had a house overnight. Like, oh, I'm the famous victim of the Boston bombing, and my image is everywhere on fucking 4chan. Donate some money.
Wait, was that even in the internet times? When did this happen?
It was 2014.
Yeah, GoFundMe came out in May of 2010, so, I mean, yeah, they could have.
Could have done.
Did they in real life, and they just didn't put it in the movie?
Let's see.
My guess would be no. He's got no legs. Probably... I don't think he was going to be moving very quick.
Maybe going to do a savewalterwhite.com and it would have definitely taken off.
SaveJakeGyllenhaal.com.
Yeah.
It looks like there was a GoFundMe for him.
Oh, so this movie is fucking fake news.
What, an actual GoFundMe? Wow.
It made $810,000.
What? Yeah, but we can't move out of this shitty apartment with the... was that how much the physical therapy cost? Like, my God. Whoa! Somebody donated $37.14 to say Florian is looking exceptionally cute today.
Oh, thanks.
Wow, thank you, Psycho. That's almost as much as I get paid to edit a Florian
Psycho.
Video. Like, I might retire from helping Florian at this rate with that kind of money coming in.
Yeah, just stream with me instead.
Oh, yeah, if that's the ticket, I'll never edit a video again.
Oh, shit.
Speaking of which, new monkey box over Bonzo Goes to College. Expect to see that in your sub box soon, folks. Made some good progress
Hell
today. Do we have any other thoughts on Stronger?
None that I can think of. I feel like as we get into some of the more interesting Jake movies, there's going to be a lot more to talk about. Like, I'm excited for like Nightcrawler, Enemy, those kind of movies. I feel like those will be
Nocturnal
pretty long
Animals,
segments.
Classic Bigs. There's got to be more good Jake Gyllenhaal movies than bad. There's no bad ones that really jump to my mind other than maybe that space movie he did recently called Life. I don't know if that was necessarily bad, if not just mediocre.
What happened?
Yeah, that was just kind of
I haven't seen it.
That was just kind of another kind of nothing movie, I guess. I mean, I liked it, but
Okay.
most of that was because he was in it. So
Yeah, and that might be why I am so high on this movie. Like, if it was a lesser actor in the role, I probably would think this movie's pretty mid. But Jake gives a very convincing and emotional performance. After watching all of the Ted series, I was prepped for the Boston accent, but
Wow.
I was not ready to hear it coming out of Jake's mouth. And I'm so used to him not having that accent that it did feel fake for a little bit. Like, it took me a while to get into it and believe him talking in that way.
yeah. I was gonna talk more about Life, but I should probably just save that for whenever we get it on the wheel.
Save it for 2027 when we land on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure to bring me back because I love space movies, you know. So I'll definitely want to see this one.
We got to get you on for the Donnie episode as well. You can say why you hate Donnie Darko.
True.
Should I
Punish
spin?
myself with it again.
Should I spin the wheel, Biggs? See what we're gonna watch next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see it.
All right.
right.
Let's see if I have this set up properly.
Once again, I can't watch it live per se, but I'll get a close.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure he'll say what it is.
Okay. The
For all the people
wheel.
who just listen and don't watch.
The wheel's in the corner. I'm gonna give it a spin. Here we go. The next Jake
boy.
movie will be. Oh, it's spinning.
Better be live.
I just watched this a week ago.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I have to rewatch this 3-hour fucking movie. I literally just watched this. It's Zodiac, in case you're listening and not watching. One of David Fincher's finest, if not his greatest film. It's got Robert Downey Jr., it's got Mark
bad.
Ruffalo, and it's got Jake Gyllenhaal. He is a cartoonist for a newspaper who becomes obsessed with solving the Zodiac killer case.
Damn,
And
that sounds awesome.
it's one of the greatest movies of our era.
I actually just watched it last month as well.
Well, fuck it, let's just review it right now.
I'm 50-50 on whether I've ever seen it.
Well, I know what
If
you're
not,
doing
you
tonight.
should.
Yeah, definitely worth the watch.
Hell yeah.
And people were
So-
hoping for Jarhead. Was Zodiac good? Yes, Zodiac is good. Don't worry. Oh, Bubble Boy. That's another childhood classic for me. I've probably seen Bubble Boy 30 times.
Whoa.
Looking forward to
that-
that one.
So does that mean that the Biggs is now regularly back doing these Jake Gyllenhaal movies?
Well, every month, of course.
Ah.
And we're here every week for Mumkey and Bigs 365. And coming up in this episode, we're going to review episode 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Florian. If you have seen that, maybe you could join us.
I have not. Wait, is this
that's too
happening
bad.
right now or?
We'll kick you off in a couple minutes.